I invited Mary McDirmid from All Needs Planning back from last year because people actually requested Mary and they wanted her to have more time. And we put her early in the program specifically so you could listen to her and then talk to her at the roundtables at lunch. And really, she wants to be a resource to you. So take it away, Mary.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'm so tall. We can do this. I'm gonna go like this. Well, thank you, and thanks those multiple speakers that I've already had. So hard to follow such heartfelt stories. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. I have similar ones. I am a mom of a rare disease child as well, not GM1, but a different one that has an awful name because they all have awful names. But my advice that I got good advice from a cardiologist, my first appointment outside of the NICU, and he looked me dead in the eye and said, "Are you enjoying your baby?" And I cried my face off, and I wasn't. And I now try and live in the moment as much as I can with her. Every day is a gift, but that was the best advice I got very early on from an amazing cardiologist in my home city and state of Spokane, Washington. So I'm just gonna carry that same theme for all of us. I know caregiving is intense, but there has to be moments of joy and hope. And I wanna thank Amanda for bringing that up to us. Okay, this is an hour-long presentation in normal terms, so I'm gonna scream through some slides, just like Christine said. I will be here after. Please come find me. Ask me anything. Also, for everyone online, I have a QR code that goes directly to my calendar. You can set a meeting. We can talk about your specific situation. Please use me as a resource. I am a mom that happens to be in finance. That's your benefit. You can ask me anything you want. Please. No questions are off the table, okay? Obviously, this is me. I have multiple jobs, right? I happen to be a financial planner that has a kiddo with a rare disease. I'm a caregiver. I have another child, an amazing 11-year-old that's a A-type firstborn swimmer that wants to be on time to everything, which is also another topic we could talk about. But and then my Ruth, we call her Adventure Ruthie because an adventure is shared and a journey is alone. So we're all on an adventure together, okay? All right, so I love this slide just to think about the timeline. I am very obviously conscious of GM1 and how it does affect you guys very young. You need to enjoy the time that you have with them. So a lot of the planning we do are for families like mine and Amanda's where our kids are going to live past us. I have to plan for a whole chunk of money for my child to live off of when I'm not around. I think GM1 is very different. You guys got to capitalize on the time you have now, okay? So just bear that in mind when we're going through some of these slides, okay? But through this timeline, I mean, we all know a very probably intimately birth to 3, right? What programs are you in? Speech, OT, those type of things. We get into the school age of IEPs. Can we apply for Medicaid? So that's going to be a big kind of push for me for you guys. If you're in California, that system's amazing. If you're in another state and you're not aware of like Medicaid waiver systems, I can send resources after too. There is a great website that has all the Medicaid waiver systems in every state, but you guys need to be on those systems to get not just financial assistance, caregiver support, respite. I think that's something that none of us have. I think taking a nap is a big goal. Taking a nap once a week is a goal. So you need to do that too, but we need people to replace us, right? So one of the things I talk about is, do you have stuff written down of what you do for your child, right? Like writing down everything we do for our kids is intense, but also that's a roadmap for someone that could come behind you. That's just some kind of glimpse into what you do for them, but it also gives you information on who could come in and maybe give you a break. I haven't been on a vacation with my husband in 9 years. That happens to coincide with the same age of my child, right? So we haven't been we do logistics every night to try and figure out what the next day is, right? So I think there is services out there. Medicaid is one of them. At every state, there is a waiver system as of today. And so we got to take advantage of those systems to help you guys financially and emotionally. Okay, it's twofold. When our kids do reach 18, they are, in the eyes of the world, a legal adult. So there are some very specific transition plannings to happen at 18. Okay, we're talking guardianship, Social Security, all sorts of different things that kind of fall in that 18 bucket. So a lot of transition planning at schools leads up to that age of 18. I do encourage everybody to get your legal done, regardless of circumstances. If something were to happen to you and your spouse, there does need to be legal things set up so that your child won't inherit money directly, and that they will then have guardians to take care of them that you want. To be really honest, what motivated me to get my legal done, this is embarrassing, but I'm going to be vulnerable because Amanda told me I have to, is there anybody you want to exclude from maybe taking care of your child or being involved? And I think we all have family members that would probably jump in and probably wouldn't be the best. And so that actually, my lawyer friend informed me of, it's not just the people you want to help when you're not around if something happens to you, but it's also exclude people that you might not think would be the best fit. So, okay, I'm a visual story person. You'll get that with me. To me, this visual kind of covers everything that we try and talk about with specifically financial planning for families like mine and yours. Protect is like the party section, right? Let's talk about tax, legal, and insurance. Sounds super fun. It's boring but important, right? So, and don't hold it against me. I was a previous tax person, a recovering tax person, so I know all of that stuff, but I'm not going to do your taxes. But I do know it enough to be dangerous. Legal is those legal buckets that we're going to create to catch assets. If something tragically does happen to me or my husband tomorrow, I need Ruth to still be on her Medicaid waiver, right? I still need her to be getting the services that she's getting now. That means she can't get assets directly given to her, okay? The care part. So we want financial plans and support plans. That support plan is what I was talking about, the start of. Writing everything down that you do for your child. That's a first big step. It's a leap. It's work. I know I'm asking you to do work. But if you write it, the 24-hour ChatGPT, like of your 24-hour day, it's a start of a care plan. And that care plan can be a roadmap for you. It can be a roadmap for somebody that would come in and provide respite. But it's important to have it somewhere and have it written. I use a PDF and I just update it every year, right? I'm a digital person, so I want that to be in a digital space, and I don't want to remake it every year. I got a blueprint from years and years and years. I can just edit that out. The financial plan is as a parent caregiver, what's your financials look like? And then what is needed to support this other person? And then what are the conflicting goals? If you have other children, you have college, you have other things that are conflicting, how are we going to plan for all of them, right? And how do we prioritize them, right? I tell people I'm just really a great project manager, part-time counselor. And so I'm going to keep you accountable to the things you tell me are important and try and figure those out with you, right? And then benefits. The overarching, if you get one thing out of this today, overarching part of this plan is keep our kids benefit eligible and give them a great life, okay? Those systems don't like each other. They don't even get drinks together, right? They're not hanging out. They're like, no, thank you, right? So we got to keep our kids benefit eligible, get them a great life. That means they can't get assets directly to them, okay? We can put money in two places, special needs trust and ABLE. That's all you get out of this today. We're on our road. We're on our way, okay? I'm getting some nods. Nobody's sleeping yet. Good thing I'm early. All right, so, I'll go back. We're going to grow. How is your money invested? Personal goals, relax and enjoy. That's even hard for me to say out loud because I truly think drinking water, taking a nap, sleeping in a bed by yourself at a hotel is all respite, relax, and enjoy, right? It is different from our peers that have kids that don't have disabilities, right? And I think what Amanda's hitting on is the comparison game is a trap. Don't fall into it, man. We're doing our best. I'm the world's most okayest mom. I have a mug that says that for proof. So get rid of the shame, get rid of the guilt. Like, we're all doing our best, right? And so having goals of drinking water and taking a nap are amazing goals, right? So personal goals and relax and enjoy, that's my hard to talk about. Now, each of these sections we're going to go through and I'm going to describe them, okay? I do have an example. I don't think we'll have time to get to the example of how we implemented this with an actual family, like it's a case. And then I have a slide talking about the bill that just passed and how it's going to affect us and the amount of, in order, what we should be worried about. And my big ask for you guys is to go advocate at our state level and make sure that we get those funding done, okay? So we're going to go through each care, protect, grow section, and then we'll talk about the big bill, and then I have a little time for questions, but I will be around, like I said, for that. And for those of you online, use that QR code and set a meeting with me, and I can answer your specific questions. Okay. So care, the support plan, exactly what I said before, daily supports of person with disabilities, including medical. Okay, so I think we kind of actually gravitate towards the medical first because it's easy to document from my chart. But it is more of the things that you don't think of, like, for my daughter to get her hair cut, she hates hair dryers because we had so many EEGs early that she's medically traumatized by putting those things on her head and the thing that freezes it on. She can't go to the dentist because it sounds like that equipment. She hates hair dryers. She doesn't like vacuums, right? So to get her hair cut, this is an example of one thing I have to write down. I have a wonderful salon that gets open at 7 a.m. We have the first appointment. There's nobody else in there. She can get her hair cut in 15 minutes, which is the amount of time we have and probably available for her to sit still. And then we're out of there before anybody else comes in and starts the hair drying and everything. Now, how am I going to do that without me and without me knowing it and without me writing that down? Okay, so that's just a tiny example of one thing that can kind of, you start pulling that string and you're like, oh yeah, but I got to do this and this and this and this, okay? Who provides the supports and how would someone else step in? And what are those costs if someone has to step in? I did this exercise with my husband. It was very humbling of us to write down exactly what we do for our child. And then we cross-referenced. And I didn't know when the bus came home. He handles all that. I didn't know when school started. He didn't know how to log into my chart, right? Like, we all are dividing and conquering because we have to. But I think the more you can cross-reference that and have it written, then you can, like, my husband had an emergency work call, and he's like, I need you to come home and get the girls. I'm like, okay, cool. I can go to the Excel document, and now I know when the bus gets there. I know when school gets out. I actually know what the app is for the bus, like so many things. But at least I have a document that I can find if there's something like that that comes up. Benefits. So we're talking Social Security. That is usually a disabled determination at age 18. So we're not Social Security eligible because it's around household income until our kids hit 18, okay? Medicaid and Medicaid waivers. This is the big one for your group, just because we need nursing support. If you can be a paid caregiver and your kids are under 18, those are big benefits in California. It's one of the best. The HHS, yes. HHS, man, a parent could be a parent caregiver. They can stay home. They can get paid to do that. It's a really, really big benefit. And there's other states that have it. Colorado, I know, has paid parent caregivers under 18. Washington doesn't yet, but we are working on it. And the other ones are family members could caregive for you. So you could actually have other family members come and caregive for you. So come find me. I do have a great link to all the state waivers. I can try and, if there's a follow-up email, I can put that link in there too. So the financial plan is lifetime cost of care. So you're planning possibly for 2 generations. Like I said, I know GM1 is tragically early. So I want to be sensitive to my audience. But in other planning for other families, they have to plan buckets of money for 2 generations. What tax implications do we have in savings, and what tools do we have? So we have ABLE, retirement vehicles if you need to dip into that. Employee benefits are kind of a big one we don't think of with our kids. So if your kids are on your health insurance, right, and you are planning to retire, if they don't have Medicaid as a backup, what's their health insurance options? So I'd really encourage people when they're switching jobs, moving states, anything like that, like what benefits am I getting, and then what benefits are my kids getting, just to make sure those don't have a drop in anywhere. Or we're planning very strategically on where you want to move, what job, what benefits are they offering you, to make sure that they're samesies to what you're used to receiving. I do a spotlight on ABLE. I get a lot of questions around ABLE and special needs trusts. Okay, so in ABLE, if you're familiar with a 529 plan, which is college savings, an ABLE is a 529A. So they just put an A behind it so our kids can save money and not have their benefits be affected. Okay, these are all the characteristics of that ABLE. The qualified disability expenses you don't need to worry about. It's the best definition the government's ever given something for the wellness, betterment, and health of the person. That's vague and amazing. We want that definition to be vague so we can use it for anything that improves their health. Sorry, all the three things I just said. I can't remember now. But this is a great tool. We use both. We use an ABLE and a special needs trust to make sure our families are taken care of. So if your child is getting close to getting over $2,000 in their name, we use an ABLE to just shove that over. You can still have it in there. All these agencies know about it. It's not a secret. It's built for people with disabilities to save money. Okay? In the care section, so how much does it cost to care for your special needs loved ones? So that number of what it costs is something that a lot of families come to us for. So we want to put a number to it, make sure we can cover it in your wonderful lifetime. How much will you need in retirement? So if you're inching towards that retirement time and your child's at home, how are we going to take care of them with maybe no income coming in and we're living off retirement benefits and also losing work benefits? Okay, so we got to balance that at retirement. Do you have any other goals that need funding? So I have a wonderful A-type 11-year-old. Hopefully she's going to become a doctor or something amazing, right? How am I helping her too? Like, there's conflicting goals always with financial planning, but we got to make sure that we're hitting them and then prioritizing them. Are there gaps, and how are we going to address them? Okay. All the planning you do probably in life in general is where am I now and where do I want to go? And is there a gap and how am I going to fill it? Right. So if you're willing to take that leap and raise your hand, which it's hard to raise your hand and ask for help, I think, in our space, if there's no one there to do it, to raise their hand next to you, which is, I think, why this whole group is here. And I'm glad Amanda forced us to be, vulnerable with each other. Now you have a whole room full of people that want to help you, okay? And I want to be one of them. Okay, protect the party section. Insurance, address any insurance gaps. So a lot of families do worry about them passing. So if I pass away, what is left for my husband to make sure all our goals are there? And unpaid labor doesn't get addressed. But if you are like Amanda and decided to stay at home for a chunk of money, that is labor, unpaid. So that should have a replacement cost to it and make sure that you're insured for that. We use permanent insurance for lifelong planning to leave. So in my instance, as long as something doesn't happen tragically in the middle of the night with a seizure with Ruth, she has a very long life. And so we have a chunk of insurance that will just go to her special needs trust when me and my husband pass. So that's long-term planning for her lifetime when we're not around. Tax-wise, there's some things that we can deduct as a medical expense. Conferences, if you go to a special needs school that has tuition, you can do that on a Schedule A. The big one that you guys probably might be actually relative to you is when you have to remodel your house to address accessibility needs. So if you have to put in a wheelchair shower, if you have to put in ramps, if you have to put those type of things in, you can write those off as a medical expense. And those remodels get to a high cost that it actually makes a really big difference for people. Estate tax, all of that down the road. Secure Act, that's all just legislation talking. So the legal portion, so do you have your own wills, powers of attorney, and medical directives set up? That's for you as a caregiver, okay? The best example I have, and like I said, I drudged through this, not 100% willingly. Nobody wants to think about them not being around, so that was hard for me. But my dad had Parkinson's, and so I have a child of a parent that does disability, and so I'm very specific about my wishes when I'm no longer able to be in this world. And I looked my husband dead in the eye, and I was like, can you be the person that can make that decision? Can you be my power of attorney that will make this happen? And he looked at me and said, no, I can't do that. I was like, that's okay. I'll find somebody else, right? So you got to know your wishes and make sure they're set, and that the other person will be that person for you if you don't want to be resuscitated or those type of things. Decision-making supports, this is at 18. So at 18, our kids are legal adults. Guardianship, conservatorship, power of attorney, all of those things need to be addressed if you want to be in the room medically or financially. A special needs trust I addressed a bit. So an ABLE account can act like a checking for us, and a special needs trust can act like the savings. It can collect large assets and keep your children benefit eligible. For you guys, an easy way to do this is just say it be springable upon your passing. So in my will, it says, upon my passing, a special needs trust needs to be created for my daughter, Ruth, to create 50% of the assets that I have so that she can stay benefit eligible, okay? You don't have to go create one today. You don't have to do any of that, but a big first step is just have that special needs trust springable in your will, okay? Am I talking in too many acronyms? Everybody still with me? Okay. Two types of special needs trusts. The most sought after, I'd say, is a third party. That means anyone else besides your loved one can donate to it. Donate. So funded by parents, grandparents. I love me the grandparents, but sometimes grandparents are the biggest culprits of over-resourcing our kids. They just give them money because they love them and possibly give them money in their estate. Amazing, but we don't want to have them not be benefit eligible, okay? If we have grandparents in the picture, that is a time where you might create that trust today and say, hey, grandma, name this estate, this trust out in your estate so we don't ever over-resource Billy. Billy can't get your assets, okay? First party is more of if there's a settlement, so a hospital malpractice, anything like that needs to go into a first party. Accidents, all those things. So our preferred, if we can pre-plan, is a third. If there is some kind of need for a first, also if you're military and you have a pension, some of those things need to go into a first. Any kind of child support as well. This is our legal visual of all the things we need to do legally. All right, we're going to grow all the things. So how are you invested and does that make you comfortable? That's how I always address investing. Do you know what you're invested in? Are you okay with it? Are you checking your statements every day? Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Find somebody you trust to manage it so you don't have to do that. The conflicting goals is a big deal when we're talking about investing. I have to retire. I need to leave money for my daughter. I have another daughter who knows, going to burn down the world or rule it. How am I going to fund that? And so there always are conflicting goals, and our job is to prioritize them for you. And we're trying to match a cost of care with what the funding is and fill in those gaps. Like I said, relax and enjoy. The first thing on there is let go of that shame and guilt. That's what Amanda's trying to get us to do. Let go of that. We're doing the best we can, and we need to rest. My rested self is my best self. And I'm not always my best self, but I do know that if I eat well, rest, and work out, and prioritize myself, I will be a better parent, caregiver, and spouse to my husband. The family goals, I think it's really hard for us to dream about things, but I do take it in small increments. What is something that you used to do that you loved, that you want to get back to, and then just take a tiny, tiny, tiny step towards it today. I got 7 minutes. Okay, we're going to get through it. Does your plan cover that cost of care? How much will you need in retirement? Do you have other goals? Are there gaps? Same theme throughout all of this. This is our process. I got some feedback from another presentation. I was like, Mary, we love you, but like, what does this entail? This is what it looks like. And this is how we work, not unlike any other processes that are out there, but we get to know you, we start a strategy, we onboard, we get your cost of care, and then we deliver an action roadmap to you. That is named specifically. It could be named anything, but I actually want you to take action. So a plan's great in creating it, but if you don't actually implement, it's just a great plan, okay? This is how we work ongoing with all of our clients. So we chunk them into quarterly meetings. We talk about investments, your financial plan, what advocacy needs do you need? So when I talk advocacy for this space, it's, do we need to get on the Medicaid waiver, and have they fought back with you? Did you get dropped from SSI and we gotta go yell at some people? Are you having trouble with IEPs, right? So we actually have a partner on our team who is not financial, not legal. She's a PhD in human behavior, because our clients are screaming for this type of support, and I was not qualified to give that as much as she is. The protect one, once we get legal kind of done, that can be a wild card meeting as well. This is us. For my online people, this is that QR code. So if you want to talk about your specific situation, click on that. It'll send you right to my Calendly, which is amazing or dangerous. We'll see. And anybody else here, if you want to do that too. But I'll be around here, and that goes to my calendar. So if you want specific questions answered for those online, please just click on that and schedule an hour, and we can talk about your situation. Oh, that is one of my favorite sayings, though, especially in the times we're in right now. When you're better prepared for the predictable, the surprises become manageable. What are predictable things that you can check off your list and be done with? Because there's some surprises coming down the road for our families, I think, with legislation and all of those things. So what can we manage now so that when this unpredictable things come up, I'm ready for it? Okay. I'm going to scream through the example. This is your people. So my two partners, Kathy and Kristen, are in Virginia. I'm in Washington State. So we cover all time zones. All our meetings are Zoom. Everything's virtual. So, all right. So let's talk about this big bill that came through and how are we going to handle it. And this is my opinion of the things we need to worry about. One is Medicaid services being reduced, okay? This year is the time to gather our resources and advocate at the state level. So what's going to happen is Medicaid is a state-federal match. States are putting in, federal are coming in. Federal money gets cut, states are going to have to help and make up the difference. So what other conflicting goals do you think they have on their docket for their budget this year? Probably a lot. So if we want to make a difference, we've got to rally in those state legislation sessions and really tell them how important our families are. I kind of quit talking about how they should care about my daughter. I know they should, but I go with a math and econ play. If you don't help us now, this is only going to hurt further down the line, right? You're taking away Medicaid for my child now will only hinder me and probably bankrupt a lot of families rather than being able to maintain, save, and keep going, okay? So this is the year to, if you haven't, go legislate, go talk to your legislators, go set appointments. They need to know that it's good to bring your child, because I bring Ruth with me, but I am talking math and econ about how this is gonna hurt in the future. SSI benefits, I always used to say it was political suicide to touch SSI, but that's off the table. That could definitely be affected. The ACA premium subsidies expire. So the ACA in 2026, the subsidies will expire. So if you imagine a child that's on Medicaid and they have work requirements, they can't do that. Somehow they get kicked off Medicaid and now there's no ACA to go get on an exchange and get insurance, and they have a medically complex background. That's going to be very difficult. SNAP benefits. The ADA in general is weakening, so accessibility, those type of things. And then the Department of Education being reduced, I think, is affecting all of us that have kids in school that have IEPs. If the school system goes to a voucher system, how are our kids going to get the services they need? This is doomy and gloomy. I get it, but please, 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 like, know that your voice matters. So please, please get out there and advocate when you can. Okay? Love to end on a doom and gloom. Oh, we also have a Facebook page if you want to join another one. I'm sure we're all on 7. We do try and make it as positive as possible and getting whatever credible resources we can with changes that are happening with our families. So we're trying to put stuff out there that does that. We are revamping a special needs masterclass. So if you want to kind of DIY this on your own, we have that. And then if you know somebody else that I should present at, I would love to know those people too. Okay. Do you want me, let me go to this QR code. Anybody online, this is your chance. And I think I did it in time. Okay. Whew. We did it, guys. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.